and welcome to another episode of The Extended Branch, a podcast aimed at demystifying Freemasonry and general other things that we're really happy about. Anything that you hear on our podcast is our own opinions and has nothing to do with any Grand Lodge. So, brothers, good evening.
Hi, Kev.
With us, as always, is Billy Bilbo.
Hi.
Worshipful brother, Adam Reich.
Hello
Very
there.
happy to have him back on the podcast. My name's Kevin Cotter. Guys, how we doing?
We're doing good.
Well, thank you.
Good. First, I want to say, and I know he'll be listening to this during editing and while it airs, Andrew, we miss you tonight. Feel better. And Adam,
Definitely.
thank you
Yes.
so much for coming in and filling in, our guest
My
host
pleasure.
tonight. So
It's big shorts to fill.
Guest host extraordinaire.
Yep. So officially,
I mean, this would be like, the Regis Philbin.
yeah,
of
yeah.
Extended
Oh yeah,
Branch.
Reach.
Every time
Yeah.
I watch the podcast, I get very excited. I'm like, oh, when are they going to drop my name?
Mr. Sash
All right, it's
over
not going to
here.
happen once.
Yeah, not one time. You're done. Not this episode.
I still want my blue sash.
No.
We're working on it.
Oh, okay.
Oh, like it's legit.
Listen, I have been interviewing quilters.
Yeah.
This is
We have
this is gonna get
designs laid
serious.
out, and yeah,
Only the best.
There's gonna listen.
all the flair.
All the flair.
It's got to be
Got your flair
industrial.
right here.
I just think, like, the whatever that movie is with Sacha Baron Cohen, The Dictator.
The Dictator,
with all the
yeah.
medals.
A fine art.
That's what
art
it'll be.
artificer
An
in-
epaulet
in-
on the corner.
in
Yeah,
brass
yeah,
and iron
yeah.
and all
An
Yeah,
all
applet,
colors.
that's what you
Yep.
call it.
Royal blue.
It's gonna happen, man.
Danielle, if
Yeah.
you're listening to this, it's an applet, in case we were talking about it.
How does that come up in conversation?
We were talking about your sash.
Oh.
Yeah,
Okay.
specifically.
Oh, specific.
Yeah.
There's a
okay.
lot of people
Oh,
that are aware.
this is involved, man. It's got to be
Entire
right.
industry
Dude,
behind
there's-
my sash.
Their wheels are turning.
Oh, good.
People working,
Good.
making,
Yeah.
I
doing.
like being zealous and industrious.
This is
Yeah.
gonna be great.
yeah.
I mean, the presentation's gonna have to be on the podcast.
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
okay with that.
Oh, yeah,
Okay.
100%. Yeah,
Cool.
let that
Yeah.
be.
All right.
do
Well, that's all.
We'll do a
That's
field
all I
piece.
wanted to know. So, all right, guys, see you later. Thank
No.
you.
You sit down. You earn that sash.
No, okay. All right.
That's right.
Put in
You
your
work-
time.
You work for that sash.
No pin for you.
So, let's see. We'll do a little pass. We'll pass the gavel first. I got a little one thing. Adam will most likely be able to, being that he is the Mr. Penn, as I like to call him, the secretary of the lodge. He'll know much more about this. But we did our barbecue. If you're listening to this, we are post barbecue that I mentioned in the last podcast, and it went great. It rained, but still had a great time. It was awesome. Our band was amazing. Bad Gunther, Peter.
Shout out to Bad Gunther.
Yeah, two of the three brothers from our lodge that are in Bad Gunther have been on the podcast. Peter and Ken. You guys did a great job. And pretty much that's it so far. We had another degree. We did a fellow craft this past Tuesday. We did an excellent job. Everyone did wonderful. And now we're rolling into break. So now we're doing
Summer
a lot of
refreshment.
practicing. Yeah, summer refreshment. And I found out, and it's a shame that Andrew's not here because he's probably very pleased, is that it's going to be advanced stations coming up.
Yeah,
so,
baby.
So I have a lot of work to do,
Mhm.
and Andrew gets to take the entire summer off, basically,
No,
except
right.
for regular worshipful master
He's
stuff.
got to learn the Tyler's
Yeah.
position.
Billy
well,
starts powerlifting on
yeah,
Monday.
Oh my
Yeah.
God, yeah. There's a lot of work to do,
all
but
right.
so other than that, so Kev, you got anything?
Yeah, so I wanted to, and instead of something being specifically about me, I wanted to talk actually about the podcast. I think first of all, if you've been following along with these podcasts, thanks very much.
Yeah,
we
thank
really do appreciate it. But outside of this, there's a lot of great conversations going on. There's a lot of people that are kind of lined up, stacked off in the backstage area, who are interested in being guests, and you know, a lot of good things coming.
Yeah.
And I'm really happy that we get to do this because it's just a little different.
Yeah,
From
just
everything else
enough.
that we're doing
Yeah.
in Freemasonry.
And
it's
each,
just
each
another
episode
facet.
is different in its own right, and they're all very enjoyable to watch.
Oh, thanks.
Oh, thank you.
It's, you know, I think in particular the last 2 or 3 episodes we did, we were really proud of.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And you know, sometimes they meander, but that's okay because that's what's going to happen.
That's what Masonry
You know,
does.
We
it's
do
like-
meander, yeah.
we're recording the stuff, and yes, it goes out in perpetuity, right? And it's there to be judged. But it is, you know, it is something that we, I mean, in our first conversation about this, we were like, yeah, we need to do this.
Yeah.
Oh,
and that was kind of it. That was the end of the planning. It's like, yeah, we need to do this. Well, how easy would it be? It'd be really easy.
Oh,
okay,
it's
then
super
we have to
easy.
do
Yeah,
this.
okay, then we're gonna
I
do
mean,
it. Yeah.
you're basically
Right.
doing a journal entry.
Oh
every
yeah,
week.
it's true. Yeah.
Right. So that's all I wanted to put out there. There's a lot of good things coming. Really proud of that. Very happy. So, Adam.
Yeah. So I had a very hectic week, and
my God,
it
yeah.
culminated last night. I have been taking Taekwondo for just over 2.5 years,
Right.
and last night, after a very stressful week and working myself into a tizzy before bed on Wednesday night, practicing my form and whatnot, I had a belt test last night, and I earned my what's called the Bodan belt, which is 2 away from a black belt.
Hooray!
Thank you. So,
stuff, man.
Congrats,
It's
congrats.
the toughest form that I've done, and the toughest skill that I've had to do. And for a 41-year-old
Oh my God, yeah.
to test for my to potentially test for my black belt in October.
Move those limber legs there,
Yeah,
old man.
double knee brace and a lot of Bengay.
For anybody that's keeping score, Kevy is the youngest person on the podcast.
Yeah, we realized that we came to this, Kevin and I, a couple weeks ago. I, as a matter of fact, am the oldest of the 3 of us that are, and it feels weird. I got to tell you, I've been the youngest for a very
the
long
youngest
time.
Mason.
And you know what the funny
Yeah,
thing
but the
about it
youngest
is?
Mason.
You may be the oldest out of the 3 of us,
Uh-huh.
but it's in reverse order of gray hairs.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, Kevin has a silver
Yeah,
silver
all the
mane
way.
going.
I
I get some wisp here,
Hotter to the
and
gray.
you're like, "Oh, can I see your ID, please?"
Oh, it's very hidden. You
Yeah.
have no idea what I do. It's the vanity.
I mean, I haven't been carded in years, so
Oh no, yeah.
it's not gonna happen.
If I
It's
wear my
tough.
mask, I get carded because
Yeah.
they don't see the gray hairs on my
When
chin.
before I grew the beard, I all the time, but I was also 5 years younger. So
So what do we got, guys? What do
Okay,
we?
McLovin.
What are we
All right,
doing?
McLovin, let's do
all
this.
right, McLovin is gonna start.
McLovin of Freemasonry.
So I got a couple Masons. If you guys want to play Who's That Mason?
Sure.
I
Yeah.
can't
let's
wait
do
to
it.
lose at this game. Let's go.
You're not gonna lose.
There's no.
I know.
Level
but
playing
I'm
field.
horrible at this. I play along when I watch the podcast.
Okay.
I'm like, nope, didn't get that one. No, didn't get that one.
You didn't get Manly P Hall last week.
At the very last clue, yeah.
Oh, okay. See, but don't you like? I like that.
I do like them.
I was okay. You guys ready? We got
Yes.
2. First
All right.
one. This famous Mason was enlisted into military service at age 13.
Okay.
Sure.
This famous Mason was referred to as the American version of this specific kind of royalty.
It's like, is that 2 who is this is in one question?
What?
This. All right. So, this person is referred to as an American type of royalty,
Of this specific kind of
a
royalty.
specific kind of royalty.
Yeah.
Okay. Keep going.
Last one.
Mhm.
This famous Mason composed the Stars and Stripes Forever.
Oh.
That's up your alley.
Yeah, but I don't. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
No. This is. I'm turning
No,
the
no.
tables.
Yeah, yeah,
See
let's
this?
see
Look,
if you
this
know.
is.
I know
this
he
is
knows
music
now.
teacher kung fu.
Yeah,
Yeah, I know.
I know.
This
is judo
I know,
here.
but we only have a certain amount of time on this thing.
Christian's ready to bail you out.
Go
Do
ahead.
you know Chris?
Is it Irvin Berlin?
It is not.
No, sir.
Wait, what?
It is not Irving Berlin.
It's that other guy.
Yeah.
Who wrote the song? I don't.
JPS.
John Paul Stevenson.
John
Philip
Philip
Sousa.
Sousa.
I thought you were going to
Philip
quote
Sousa.
John Paul Stevens. It's like, no, that's a different American.
I had John.
He was to explain
John Philip
the second
Sousa.
one, the specific kind of royalty,
Yeah.
he was known as the American King of the March.
Well,
Because
yeah,
there was already a
yeah.
British King of the March,
Yeah.
so they had to be very specific about it. So.
I
how
feel
about that?
really
Yeah.
horribly un-American that I do
Okay,
not
so
know
can I just jump in there
Yeah, go ahead.
for a little bit?
That's
All
why I
right.
did. Yeah, I
Okay,
picked that one because
so-
of you.
Billy's got a whole list of things about John Philip Sousa, but this is
This is Kevin's
this is
guy.
my
It's
wheelhouse.
your forte.
Okay, I didn't
Yeah.
know I was going to do this, but that's fine.
Do it.
So he was the most famous conductor of the United States Marine Band, the President's Own Band in D.C. And their band, while he was a Marine and then after he left Marine Corps service, was wildly popular all over the country. And
When was he?
So this would have been the early part of the 20th century.
Yeah.
Okay.
Late 19th century into the 20th century.
Okay.
Well, he was born 1854 and he died in 1932.
Okay.
Yeah, so very often would be in New Jersey and Cape May specifically, and wrote a march for Cape May.
Cape May.
Yeah,
Yep, he sure did.
Was the Coast Guard in Cape May at that time, or was that afterwards?
I'm not certain.
Huh.
I'm not certain. But yeah, I mean, just a tremendous band leader, a wonderful musician, very, very much loved being a Freemason. And,
Yeah, very much so.
And the Stars and Stripes Forever, in addition to being the national march of the United States, is the only one that he wrote that has a harp part.
Oh, that I didn't have in here. That's neat.
Got to be very difficult to march with a harp.
It's
Oh, yeah, I'm sure.
so
Probably a thing.
so yeah, so
Yes, it
I
would be
mean,
a thing.
we've passed Memorial Day, but we have July 4th coming up, and truthfully, I'm going to just make another plug just because here we are. Please go out and look for things like community band concerts because it's always free music.
Yeah, that's true.
It's always outdoors, so
And it's
COVID
fun.
friendly.
It's probably a really good time.
It's really great, and it's a heritage of music that truly belongs to our country that people aren't talking enough about. Yes, we have jazz and we have rock and roll and we have all these great things, right? But it's something that people don't typically experience outside of a classroom unless they go, oh, listen, it's a band and they're playing whatever John Philip Sousa tune it is,
Right,
or
yeah.
something in a similar idiom, and then we conflate all of them together.
Yeah, it's like, oh, this has got to be John
And
Philip
they
Sousa.
really, even though they follow a formula and they do sound similar in their own way, they have a similar form. They're really tremendous.
Can I diverge even more for a
Yeah,
second?
go ahead.
When I was a kid, it was an annual tradition. My parents would take us into the city to see Peter Shickley and Petey Q. Bach. Do you know who Petey Q. Bach? So, Petey Q. Bach was the seventh bastard son of Johann Sebastian Bach.
Okay.
Well, air quotes. And
right.
Peter Shickley was this music professor who found his music, air quotes, and would put on concerts with his music. And he was Petey Q. Bach was supposedly a very unconventional musician. And there's like, you know, when you do music in the round, it's, you know, one instrument starts and another follows and whatnot. Well, Petey Q. Bach, for instance, wrote a song in the round where it was 4 bars of music that was printed on the floor, and it was 4 instruments walking around the music, and that was music in the round.
I like that better.
And he got international influence from various parts of the world,
Oh,
and
my
so
God.
there was one song that was meant to have. I don't even know where the influence came from, but you know those rubber hoses that you get and you swing them around and they start whistling.
Yeah, the whee,
That was written into the piece, and
Oh my God.
But it was always one of these things where like the conductor was always late, and so the stage it was a whole show, and
got it.
all I remember is it's a rip roaring time, like it's so funny.
Oh, got
and
it.
was
Oh, it was a
so
spoof
great.
thing.
And yeah,
Oh, I thought it was like
but
real.
the music was
Oh,
really
got
good
it.
too, and
Oh yeah,
and
it's legit.
yeah,
No,
and
it was real.
Oh yeah, but
No.
one of the things. Listen, and everybody, you can stop the tape right now. All right, you need to look up this thing where it's Petey Q. Bach, like you said.
Petey
but
Q.
it's,
Bach.
It's Petey Q. Bach, explaining how classical music needs to be like a little more, you know, energetic
Jazz.
and like all kinds of stuff. He goes, we just need to make it more exciting, like a sporting event.
Yeah.
So it's
and he did a song
it's Beethoven's
that was a baseball.
It's Beethoven's Fifth Symphony with baseball announcers.
Yeah.
And they're like, you know, the French horn player. you
Oh,
know,
they're like
misses-
announcing
misses
the-
a note and asks, is he going to be traded to another orchestra and like all kinds of stuff like that.
But I mean,
It's great. It's great.
It's an auditory and a visual,
Yeah.
fantastic show. And
I'll have to watch
as someone who was in, you know, concert band and marching band in grade school and high school, and then, you know, I sang in college and whatnot, going to these things every year just helped reinvigorate my love for music, because you think of classical music and you think of, you know, community bands and jazz music and all this stuff. And here was somebody who took all these different elements and put them together into a really enjoyable time, and it really
Yeah.
just helped further resolve.
Yeah,
my
that's
love of
true.
music.
He was an entertainer
Yeah.
in his own right. That's
Yeah.
fair. All right. Oh,
All right,
thanks-
so that was
thanks,
the
Kev.
first
Yeah,
one.
that's John Philip
Train back on
Sousa,
track.
yeah. So, back to it. All right, let's see. So, our next famous Mason, This famous Mason was a born-again Christian.
Okay.
Good for him.
Keep going.
This famous Mason lost his shirt during the 1929 stock market crash.
Okay. Someone in business?
Mm-hmm. No.
Okay.
This famous Mason's clothing stores are named after himself.
Clothing stores. Lord & Taylor.
I mean,
Sears and
I don't-
Sears and Roebuck.
Keep going.
Well,
Not too many more.
Macy's?
Macy's.
No.
Gap.
No.
Yes, Brother Gap.
You give up?
21 Forever.
J.C. Penney.
JC. Oh, of course the other big
Was he a
one.
Mason?
He
Really?
was, in fact,
Really?
James Cash Penny. Yep.
Cash
Huh.
Penny.
He was
That's
initiated
terrible.
in the Wasatch Lodge No. 1 of Free and Accepted Masons in Utah in 1911.
Okay.
So the
Interesting.
J.C. Penney stores were after the crash, or like he had them
During.
during the
They
crash.
just
and
survived.
he survived it.
Yep.
Oh wow.
So, a member of both Scottish and York Rite. He was 33rd degree in 1945, Royal Arch in 1958. And let's see, I'll tell you about. He actually survived the crash because he wound up building stores, enough stores all over. And he wound up going to, he had a home in Biscayne Bay. He had a partner, and they invested in Florida real estate, and they wound up doing dairy products and stuff. So it was more so the farming that kept him survived
Interesting.
during that. But he kind of
Buy a
like,
dress shirt, get a quart of milk.
yeah, right. He kind of went nuts after he lost everything, and he started like, he became a born again Christian after. Then he started micromanaging all of his stores and. But then they eventually convinced him to like give it up, and he still would go in, but they would only tell him. He was like, it was like one of those things where like, oh, you're okay, you got it, boss.
Yeah.
We'll do
They
that
placated
tomorrow.
him. Yeah. Yeah.
And he did that for a while, and then he just kept going because it was like his comfortable place, and then he died.
He was the guy that
And then he
showed
died.
up at his stores and went, "You know what we do at my lodge?"
Yeah, yeah. We have
It's
this
not the
great.
way we do it at
we
my
have this
lodge.
great
So
setup.
he goes up to the cashier. Do you know who I am? Sir, will that be cash or credit? Do you know who I am?
Do you know who I am? It will be 1 penny.
Yeah. Wink a
right.
wink.
That's it. Congrats. I won again. No.
Yes, you won.
I told you I'm
Yes.
horrible at
I
that.
win again.
Yeah,
I'm full of useless knowledge.
No,
but
Kevin.
That's just not the knowledge.
Kevin
I'm
got
full
one
of.
tonight. He nailed that.
it's not fair.
Oh,
That
no,
one's not
of course
fair.
it
No,
is.
no. It's
Just because you know trivia,
it's like I have
doesn't
my thumb
mean-
on the scale.
Quarter scale.
I'm sorry. I apologize for
No,
that.
you don't have to apologize. That was good. That was
You're
great
gonna be
dad joke.
traded to another orchestra.
You know we
Yeah.
love the dad jokes here. You can pull them out anytime. So now that we are done with Who's That Mason, because it's the 3 guests, we usually don't do like a BBQ thing, but I wanted to have a quick like BBQ. I had an idea. So we refer to ourselves as brothers all the time. And you think of the word brother, and I personally have a blood brother, like one older brother. And you're a brother, right?
Yep.
You are a brother.
I have a younger sister.
Yep, and you
Yeah.
are.
I have 2 brothers.
So you think of that initially. That's your first idea of brothers. Either you are one. Well, you are one, no matter what, as long as you have a sibling. And then we learn, for Kevin and Adam, both of you guys were in fraternities. So that's the first time you learn a different kind of meaning for brother. And then now it's your Freemasons. I feel for me,
it's another level of brother.
yeah, the word has changed a little bit in your psyche, and for me personally it has. It doesn't just mean like my brother will always be my brother, like he's my big brother. That'll
Right.
always be. But then I have you
Nookies
guys
and swirlies and all that jazz.
yeah, getting baseballs pegged at me and stuff, all that stuff. But you guys are also my
Billy.
brothers.
If you missed that stuff,
I know.
No, certainly not.
By
No,
all
no, no,
means,
please,
we can
It's-
handle this.
It's been at least 30 years since I had a titty
I can
twister,
go
and
down to
I'm
the
doing
parking
all
lot
right
and let
with
the air
that.
out of your
Yeah.
tires right now.
No.
Are you hungry? Do you want a knuckle sandwich?
But I wanted to ask you guys because I'm Billy Bilbo, and this is my question.
Yeah.
What do you guys think of the
Still
word brother
needs
now?
music. It needs lead-in music.
I know. It's not up to
Seriously.
me. It's not up to me.
So-
I don't do the engineering. I'm not the Foley guy.
So, Adam,
He's not the Foley guy either. Don't look at him.
do you want to go first?
Sure, I guess.
Sure.
Yeah, I mean, it's my definition of brother and brotherhood has compounded upon the years. I mean, when I was younger, my sister and I look back at our early ages of being siblings, and we did not like each other.
Oh no.
We were not good companions. We were not good siblings, and it took me going away to college. My sister's 4 years younger than me, so it took me going away to college before our relationship actually changed to like an endearing brother and sisterhood relationship. I think part of it was because with 2 kids at home, we would be the buffer from our parents. I mean, my parents are lovely people, but kids versus parents,
good workaround.
Kids versus
Are you
parents.
close in age?
4 years.
4 years.
4 years.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it was one of those things where it's, your parents' attention is split between the 2 kids, and then when one goes away to college, it's now
Just the
one kid.
Yep.
So my sister, our relationship got a lot stronger when I went away to college, and then when she went away to college. And right now we are as the best of friends.
Oh yeah, you guys are hanging out all the time.
Yeah. And I'm her Uber extraordinaire. My sister lives in
Such a good brother.
Yeah, she lives in New York City, and every couple of weeks I go into the city, I pick her up and bring her home.
Doing some laundry.
Well, doing laundry, kind of get out of the city from a little bit and decompress. Back at home and under mom and dad's care with home cooking and whatnot. I provide her special drinks on the ride home because I'm driving and whatnot. So that side of brotherhood or that side of being a brother is obviously it's a blood relation, and it's you're there for your sibling, you're there for your family no matter what.
Right.
When I joined a Greek fraternity in college, I learned a different definition of brotherhood and a different definition of brother, which was not as close as blood, but still tied together. But looking back now, I realize that, and this is nothing against Greek fraternities, but just in general about the fact that your Greek years are still rather immature and rather
well, you're still basically a teenager.
Yeah,
you're still learning to be in the world.
Yeah, I mean, when you're not even actually in the world.
No,
well, especially if you're a professionally organized or professional in purpose fraternity versus a social fraternity, those have two different
fraternity.
Two different outcomes.
Yeah.
Mine was as well.
Excuse me, I had to wet my whistle.
Sure.
So but the ties that I made through my fraternity in college, Kappa Delta Rho, Mu Beta chapter at Syracuse University. I still keep up with those ties. My big brother
that's great.
is one of my very best friends. He was one of the groomsmen in my wedding. My big brother had 2 younger brothers
so
in the chain.
When you say big brother, is that a mentor, basically, like someone who brings you in that's older?
Sometimes it's someone who brings you in, but it's more along the lines of a mentor. It's someone who was in from a class previous or a couple classes prior to you. Who you have a connection with, who it's someone you go to if you have a question, if you have a problem.
I don't know about you, but like my big brother and the way that we ran the little brother, big brother thing, that was really, really involved. That was like a weekly meeting.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Well,
practicing and
so
learning all the stuff.
My big brother, shout out to Mike Hudson, was also an architecture student.
Okay.
So we saw each other in almost every class. We were in classes together. At one point, we lived in the same dorm together.
So it was a good pairing.
Yeah. And my fraternity was heavy on engineering and architecture students. So
all the Lego kids.
Yeah, the Lego kids. So my cousin, my big brother's other little brother, my cousin was also architecture. Things like that. And so the 3 of us, Dave, Mike, and I, even to this day, we have a daily, messenger chat that we still talk about.
Great.
We talk about our families, our jobs, both in good and bad times, and all this other stuff, and we're still really close.
Oh, that's great.
And I'm still very close with a lot of my Greek fraternity brothers. And same thing with me being a brother to my younger sister. I have their back. They need something, they can call me at any point in time, and they've done that before. I've driven, across multiple states to go pick up a brother who was in need of, a lift or a move or something like that. And then, later on in life, when I've hopefully matured a little bit more, at least I like to think I have.
Enough.
Enough, yeah. I joined.
After you got kicked out of the frat house.
Yeah, right, exactly.
Adam, go home.
You don't
should
have
go
to
now.
graduate. 7 years? What are you talking about?
home.
Super
yeah.
senior.
I joined Freemasonry and I learned an entirely different sense of brotherhood. In college, my brothers were my chapter at Syracuse. Yes, we had a national chapter. Yes, we had other chapters in other colleges, but I was closely tied with my brothers.
Just them. Yeah.
In Masonry, that tie that binds extends out past your lodge. And here's the other thing about it,
State
too.
lines.
Well, it's not just that, but in college fraternities, you have this college that has a chapter, and then you have this college which is 100-something miles away, and they have a chapter, and that college is 200 miles away, and they have a chapter. In Freemasonry, you have a lodge, and then 10 minutes down the road, you have another lodge, and 15 minutes down the road from that, you have another lodge, and so the tie is much closer. And I've found through the years that the brothers that I have in Freemasonry are closer to family than the brothers that I have in the Greek fraternity.
I
could agree on
overall.
It depends.
I mean, there are a
It
couple
depends.
brothers, like my
family,
big brother
extended
Mike, my cousin brother Dave. We are.
I'm still,
you know,
I'm still terribly close to a number
Oh,
of
yeah.
guys that I went to
yeah,
school
yeah,
with.
but
Yeah.
but I can say that at least for our lodge in particular, there are certain brothers in our lodge that have traversed the line from brother to uncle.
Right.
You know,
got
and
it, yeah.
and for my kids, they
Right.
are, you know,
Yeah.
Uncle Ken, you know, and
Yeah.
and
Mr. Billy.
Mr. Billy, and you know, Mr. Andrew and whatnot. And it's and I don't know if it's because when I was in college, I didn't have kids.
Right, true.
Or, you know, I don't know if that really makes the big difference, but I know that the brothers that are local here that I see on a weekly basis, or more often than a weekly basis, they are an extension of my family. More of them, I should say, are an extension of my family. There are a number of brothers in my Greek fraternity that I would consider family or close as family, but it's more here, and I don't know if it's because I see them more often now.
Yeah,
or
I mean,
whatever it is.
I can agree to that, yeah.
But it's a sense of pride to me, and a feeling of pride inside when I get called my brother. And it's a really nice thing. And I always joke that when my family comes to the lodge, you know, as secretary, I have to check the mail, and I do a couple other things, and I send housekeeping stuff, you know, paperwork stuff, housekeeping, fluff your pillow. I send, you know, my wife Tara downstairs, or my boys downstairs in the fellowship hall before I actually make an appearance myself. And
they run the gauntlet.
Oh yeah,
seriously. But they come downstairs,
like
and
a
from the
bat.
top of the stairs, I hear, "Ethan, what's up, buddy? How are you? Hi, Tara. How are you? Good to see you." And then I walk down the stairs like seconds later, and I get, "Hey, Adam, how's it going, brother?" You know, and
it's you.
it's oh, you're back again. And I understand it's you know, they see me every day, but there's such a nice feeling of being able to walk into a room and have me and my family cared for so deeply. And I think that falls along the lines more of blood brother than fraternity brother.
Yeah. Okay.
Can I yes and
By all means.
all of this?
Yes,
All right.
and
So I want to go back to the college thing too, because it is.
Please do.
It is the same place where I encountered the term brother outside of my immediate family. Right. I have a big family.
Okay.
I have a lot of cousins, and I was always very thankful of that. And you know, even though it was a big family, we were pretty close. I mean, we saw each other often. And but you know, for my brothers, when I came home, and I said, "Yeah, I have a big brother in my fraternity," they're like, "What the hell are you talking about?"
you are the big brother.
I'm the oldest. They're like, "What the hell you mean you have a big brother?" I said that he's kind of in charge of me, you know, this whole semester that I'm pledging. And they were kind of chuffed by that, and I was like, "No, tough." So
Get over
it's
it.
just the way it is. But I just went to his wedding last weekend.
Yeah, that's
you
great.
know.
Yeah.
Congrats to him.
And it was really cool because he came to my wedding, and when he had met his wife, it was within the first 6 months that they were dating that he came to my wedding.
Oh wow.
So it's been a while for them.
Can I piggyback on that a second?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
I love when lines cross like that.
Yeah.
So my big brother Mike, who in my Greek fraternity, He joined Freemasonry in Connecticut.
Oh, cool.
After I joined in New Jersey.
Copycat.
Not by a lot. And when I was installed the first time as worship master in 2010, he was an EA or a fellowcraft, I think. And I asked him if he wanted to come down, and he came down to New Jersey from Connecticut. He was single at the time, or dating his wife at the time. I can't remember. Dating his wife at the time. And they roped him into reading the ancient charges. So he was sitting on the sidelines, and he was reading the ancient charges. So I went up to visit his lodge just on a whim. I traveled up there to visit his lodge. I met a number of his brothers. I became close to, not close, but I got in touch with a couple of them.
That's great in Masonry.
And then when he was installed as worshipful master,
you went up there
as a surprise.
Oh, you read the charges?
And I read the charges
that's great.
at his installation.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
And
That's
it was
awesome.
just, it was
That's
such
so
a nice
cool.
favor to return. And then I said,
yeah,
oh, by the way, I'm
absolutely.
staying at your house tonight.
Yeah, you're feeding me and clothing me.
But I love when lines cross like that.
It's
Me
the
too,
best.
yeah.
So, one more thing about the college fraternity thing. I think the age thing is important.
Oh, yeah.
Because when you're in a college fraternity, you are still forming as a human being.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
There's the ambition is on overdrive, you know, and it is you know, the final stages of what will I become, right?
And college is a bombardment in the senses.
And it really is. And
Yeah.
and one of the things that I found helpful in my fraternity was that it was a like-minded group of people that were going into a similar profession. It was a music fraternity. And I adore it very much to this day. Phi Mu Alpha.
Phi Mu Alpha. Okay.
It's the fraternity is enormous. I'm very proud of it, and I love it. And like I said, still to this day, I see and visit and speak with my brothers from there often.
That's very cool.
But I think it's important to observe that is a college fraternity,
Yes.
right? You're not particularly settled
Yeah.
yet. I mean, maybe you don't yet have the job, or you don't yet know where you're living, or all that stuff.
Right.
But one of the things that helped in that sense was me experiencing that sort of fraternal, you know, group
And I gotta say,
away from my own family.
being in a musically inclined fraternity or sorority, that's even a closer connection than
Oh
other big
yeah. I was
fraternities.
gonna say
yeah.
the same
There-
thing. Yeah.
And this
very
is
streamlined.
a punny dad joke.
Yeah.
It's very harmonious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
you
Very good
know,
dad
it's-
joke.
it-
Yeah.
Oh, you
It
have
works.
no idea.
Yeah. It works.
Yeah.
I wish you could see
But
our ritual.
even in the Discord, there's
Oh
harmony.
yeah. I think I got it. That's cool.
So yeah, and I would never ever go back on my decision to join that organization. Is just tremendous, and that was the thing that propelled me to Freemasonry.
Right,
So
yeah.
from when I discovered esotericism and all these things, till the point that I walked into a Freemason lodge was 13 years. Right, it just didn't happen up until that point. But I want to go back to the topic of this Herm brother. All right, so when we go back, you can easily call out different organizations. If we just say religion, let's just say with Judeo-Christian.
Oh yeah. Of course.
Right?
Yeah.
I love the word rabbi because rabbi means teacher, and it doesn't have a familial connotation.
Yeah.
Correct.
Right.
So, but in the Catholic church and all the denominations,
Father,
there's
brother.
father, and there's mother, and there's sister, and
Sister,
there's brother.
yeah.
And don't we recoil when we encounter things, especially in a modern world, when somebody says, "Yeah, we're a family." Right.
Yeah.
This group is a family. I just recoil.
Right, Vin Diesel.
I mean, like I run a. It's no.
My life on the line for my family.
Family.
Quarter mile at a
it's,
time.
It's
Family.
It's no surprise
You
or
get any
shock to
corona you
anybody that
want.
I run a high school music program. We're not a family. We are not a family.
No, we're a team.
I care very deeply for my students, and I will wait in the parking lot. In a blizzard, I don't care. I'll be the last person to leave all the time.
But you're
right?
a team.
But
Right? Would you say team?
so yeah, team fine, but family is
Tough.
it's not.
There's a closer connection.
Your family is your family. My family is my family. Now, the Masonic idea right, blurs the line in a beautiful way.
Yeah.
Right. But I do think that this is where language fails us. I know exactly what I want to say. We expect, an individual's decision to become a Freemason, right? They have to walk. They have to choose to walk into the lodge and to pursue this and all this stuff.
Right. Yeah. They have to look for it.
All right. So when they've made that decision, we then, as a lodge, commit to our purpose, which is to empower them to be the best Freemason that they're going to be, right? And immediately there's this helping relationship, right? So, but there's this trust.
I think that comes from our oath.
That comes.
Yeah.
So
oath or obligation.
And I think that I think that part of it, and I think what ties us closer together as Masonic brothers and more of a family than, in your example, your students or your teacher, your peers or whatnot, is that we've oathed to support each other. That I am my brother's keeper.
Yeah, right.
In the example that you gave as a teacher, you haven't pledged your life to your students. You haven't pledged your life to your peers, but you have pledged your life to your Masonic brothers.
Right.
You have pledged that you will pluck off your shoe and give it to your brother.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
Shirt off the back. Any of those phrases that you want to use
as a charity.
And it connects you just a little bit more.
I was driving around today. I had tons of errands to do today because tomorrow we're throwing a first birthday party for Maggie.
Happy birthday, Maggie.
And I was just running laps around Monmouth County, but I was on one of my many trips down 35 today, and I come up to a light, and I can see from a quarter mile away, I can see 4 badges on the back of a car. And I was like, I know that badge, and I know that badge, and I know that badge. He had the square and compass. He had the double-headed eagle. He had the triple tau and the Eastern Star. And I was like, yeah. So I did what I normally do, which is not, pull up alongside him and start throwing gang signs. But there's a whole layer that we'll explain. But I just, I looked over, and I didn't know the guy.
Beeps?
I didn't know.
I know you told us about that. I always forget to do that. I used to see Bob Sullivan all the time.
But I'll tell you what, and I have a square and compass on my license plate. You have the same thing. I know that when I take my road trip to South Carolina in 2 weeks, if I need something, I've told my wife, if you see somebody with a badge on the car and you need something, go knock on their window.
Yeah.
Right? And there's no questions asked.
It's true.
And there's a level of trust there that really does come much closer to this idea of.
There's also a level of self-consciousness when you have something like that on your car.
Yeah.
I'm a very aggressive driver. And I have to remind myself.
I apologize.
You have Masonic license plate. You probably should not be cutting this person off doing 85.
Yeah. I mean,
even though they deserve it.
Yeah, they're in the left-hand lane going 55, but
I don't know how to respond. All I know is
I curse a lot less at cars, but I do give them the look. Like when you're in the left lane doing 55 and a 65 or slower than 55, and I'm passing on the right, I just do one of these slow looks, and then I just shake my head disapprovingly.
You know what I did today? In addition to one of these many trips,
I did not because I was not there.
It was thank you.
What'd you do?
I was at Costco, which the Costco parking lot is just basically a giant Wawa parking lot.
It's a free-for-all.
It's ridiculous.
It's a free-for-all,
Bumper cars.
Yep.
So this guy is trying to get into his car. There's an empty spot next to him. I'm trying to pull into the space. And I was trying to get into the space a little quick just because there was so much going on in that particular aisle of cars. So the guy, I waved at him. I said, I'm sorry. And he says, it's all right. So I was getting myself together, and now he's trying to back out, and I'm already out of the car. So I stop, and I know at this point that he saw my license plate. I stopped all the other traffic
good for you,
in the
Kevin.
aisle, and I helped him back out.
Good for you.
Because there was I was like, you know what?
You're a guy.
I just
You have to.
What a guy.
You have to.
You have to.
And
he'll remember that.
He will remember that. Yeah.
That's it. I mean,
There's this Gandalf-looking guy with the Masonic badge on the back of his car who stopped crashing.
Yeah,
he told the cars, "You shall not pass."
I didn't know Gandalf wore flip-flops.
He sure does.
In the summer, he does.
Yeah.
So I think that this is not a childish topic at all.
No.
I think this is a critical topic, and it's one that I don't think enough lodges would even consider bringing up. Like, what does it mean,
brother?
What
is
it? What does it?
We all
actually
say
mean?
it, and are you just throwing it at me, or do you?
There's
do you know
another
what I
topic
mean?
that needs to get.
It's not a title. It's like a verb.
Yeah, it's like an adverb.
It's a direction.
It's something that you earn.
An ad pronoun.
It is earned. Yeah.
When you are initiated into the fraternity upon your first degree, you are called brother for the first time.
Yes.
That kind of hits you a little bit.
Oh yeah, it's
or at least
sentimental.
it's hoped that it hits you a little bit, but it's very open and it's very undefined. And as you go through the fraternity, I think you kind of narrow down what that term means a lot bit. But I think that aside from talking about the term brother and talking about like what it means to be a Masonic brother versus a blood brother or whatever it is, I think the other topic needs to be had is, when did you first feel like you were a brother?
Yeah.
Because some people
coming the other way.
Some people it's a couple months. Some people it's a couple years. Some people haven't felt that yet, and that's a more of an experience thing. That's your experience that you've had through your Masonic career really helps define of when you first felt that definition of brother just got a little bit stronger. And it looks like you have a story.
Go ahead, Billy.
So you guys know, but most people may not know. So when I first became an officer, I was the steward. And I started a little bit earlier. I started into the previous year before me because Brother George O'Malley had back surgery. And absolutely, fix yourself, man. I jumped in. He asked me. I jumped in, and I started cooking. And so probably around... So the year went by, and I became installed as a steward, and I started cooking, and I had a junior steward. And a little while after we became officers, he enrolled in the Marines.
Yeah.
The Marines. And he left, and I was alone. So that whole year as steward, I was more or less alone.
Chef.
Yeah, head chef and cook and
chef.
dishwasher and everything. And shout out to the brothers that helped me do dishes and stuff in the kitchen. I would say the first time I felt like a legitimate brother, and honestly, was that first full meeting back after I was installed as Senior Master of Ceremonies, and I could actually sit and talk with the people that I had served with the year before, and just the appreciation that I got when I sat down at that bar that first night. I was like, you guys really appreciate me. I
gotta tell you, for my relationship with you, you hit a chord with me during the summer refreshment. School's off. My boys love coming to the lodge.
Oh yeah, we love having them there.
So they come on Tuesday nights, and my son Ethan was there, and you said to him, "What do you want for dinner next week?
Yeah.
I'll make whatever you want."
Yeah.
Because I had no ideas. I didn't know what I was doing.
And he said, I don't know, pizza and mac and cheese or
pizza and quesadillas.
Pizza and quesadillas.
Right
and
on.
you said you got it. And I brought him next week, and you had made for the entire brotherhood
awesome.
pizza and quesadillas.
No, it wasn't just pizza and quesadillas. It was pizza quesadillas.
Pizza quesadillas,
Oh,
right?
yeah,
We're
right
both
on.
together because he wanted both.
And he was just so happy, and
I was happy to give it to him.
That was that warm feeling of brotherhood.
All right.
So it may have
happy
been.
to
It
have
may
done
have been when you a couple months later when you finally
Well, I was working. That's the only reason I say
I know,
that. But
I know. But it was one of those things where it's like he
time is money.
Yeah, he gets it. He's part of that family.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean it's little things like that. And the experience of when did you first feel like you were a brother, or when did the definition of brother become more defined with you? Between two people is also different times.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
For me, it was that summer.
And for me, it was all the help you gave since I've started doing this. Like, I mean, it's cliche, but, after we go through the thing, you say some words to us after we're initiated, and, you're really kind of our first human contact.
Not memorized.
Yeah. Not to say that they're not human beings, but it's like this guy is talking to us unscripted.
Yeah.
So,
Right.
And then after that, it was, for me and Adam specifically, same age, lot in common. We got a lot of the same references.
Yeah.
We're both pretty much Goonies at heart.
Yeah.
The kind of thing.
80s dorks.
Yeah, and it was just the appreciation from the beginning, like me coming in and you helping me get set up and everything. It was just immediate. And then for Kevin, for you, it was the first time I heard your voice. It was like a siren, and it drew me to you.
What the hell?
Just the pitch, like the Barry White thing. I have a thing for tone.
He's the
Sorry.
White Barry.
Okay.
And it wasn't just the tone. It was also I forget what, you were given a lecture on something, or you were talking to someone, and you were getting into your esoteric thing outside. It was probably Matt Crouch, because we were out there. And
Yeah.
I got very interested, and I just started to listen to the two of you go, and I'm like,
Yeah.
I would love to pick this guy's brain, And then you and I we talked a couple times, and I was
It's
just
because
like,
I keep getting thrown out of the Walmart when I try to talk to people about this stuff.
You need to stop doing it over the PA
Yes,
system.
I needed the venue.
yeah.
So that's cool, man.
Not to be weird about it, but
No, it's not weird, because I think particularly for a Freemason in their own lodge, I think everyone would be really happy to highlight what they appreciate about their brothers, right? I'm very happy to say, and you guys as well, that lots of Freemasons from throughout our district and from the state and other states and this and that. But there are people who come to Freemasonry for many, many different reasons. There's a lot of different. The thing that I always go to is I enjoy seeing men in Freemasonry who come from very different walks of life, because I'm a teacher,
Right.
and that's like one of the most cloistered professions ever. Like we never leave this little bubble of academia.
Right.
We've got our summers off, we've got our holidays off,
that's
our
true.
kids have the summers off and the holidays off.
Same schedule
It's
as
the
everybody
same
else.
schedule,
Yep.
and it's a profession where you're not necessarily working with your hands. You're definitely not owning your own business. If you're a teacher, you work for
molding
somebody.
The young minds of
Stop it. So I take my work very seriously, but
yeah.
not that.
Listen here, team.
No, but like I want to be able to sit in a room and shut up when the guy who owns his own business starts talking, because I'm probably never going to do that.
Yeah.
And for somebody who completely unsolicited, right? Our one of our favorite brothers, Brother Frank Bars, he came up to me the first night. I mean, this was before I went home with the petition and everything, and this was late in the evening, late for him because he usually bugs out.
Yeah.
Late for him, he stayed, basically the whole time that I stayed, let me go around and talk to guys and this and that. I remember I talked to Charlie McCarthy for a long time that first night that I was at the lodge, and Eric Schilling and all these people. And I remember Brother Frank asking me, he goes, "So how old are you?" And I said, "I'm 33. And he goes, "You think you're going to do this thing?" And I said, "Oh yeah, I'm going to do this thing." And he goes, "And you're 33 years old?" And I said, "Yeah." He goes, "What the hell took you so long?" and I was like, "Wow, man!" I was like,
"Good question."
If that's the best way to get the wind knocked out of your sails, that was really cool, and I'm gonna remember that.
Oh yeah.
Forever, because it's really important that we are open, and this is not a Freemason thing. This is hopefully people who encounter Freemasons get this this idea. We need to be open to receive the best from people, even if they're not giving it at that particular moment, right? We have to look further. We have to be better about deferring to the humanity in each people. And that's, I mean, it's the other thing that we throw around, and again, these are all cliche things, and they're great, and they're alchemical, and they're really cool, and they're corny at the same time. Not just a man, a mason, right? That whole thing, or to be one, ask one. But the other T-shirt that's out there that I'll never buy the T-shirt. All right, I'm not buying the T-shirt. I'm not putting the poster on my wall. But it says "Brotherhood of Man under the Fatherhood of God," right? And God could be deity. It could be any. It doesn't matter. But Brotherhood of Man, we're not spending enough time on that.
Yeah,
we're not spending enough time on that
with all mankind.
In outside of Freemasonry, we're not spending enough time in our professional lives doing that.
That's true. Yeah.
Maybe we are in our personal lives, and that's great. But unless you're doing some kind of charitable work, you gotta look further.
But I think
people.
that through Freemasonry, you look to give people the benefit of the doubt more than outside. I mean, there are some people who are very much humanitarians and are, charity driven and people first and whatnot. But as brothers in the Masonic fraternity, you learn to give someone the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah.
We've had brothers that have come into the lodge with, they've had a bad day, and they came out with a chip on their shoulder, and they bark at the first person that says hello to them. And you have to take it in stride. And I've done this to brothers, and they've done it to me. And by the end of the night, like Brother Frank, I made an off-color. Frank and I have a very interesting relationship. We get each other very well. We're very much the same person, aside from decades apart.
Right.
Yes, decades.
Decades and decades.
And Frank and I always go at each other with jokes and jabs. And my biggest joke with him is that when he sees me, I get a question or an order before I get a hello. It's just the way it is.
Okay.
And he said something to me the other night.
Well, he never calls Andrew by the right name.
Right.
Yeah.
Or whatever it is.
Tommy or Pete.
Right.
Yeah.
And he said something to me the other night, and I just retorted back to him, and I said, well, just because you're a doting old man doesn't mean that you get to say that, or whatever it was.
Yep.
And I went home, and I'm like,
You beat yourself up.
I didn't
about it.
like how that came across.
Yeah.
And I know that Frank and I have a very strong relationship, and I called him the next day.
Aww.
And I said, listen, I just want to make sure that we're good. I said something that I think would have been offensive to you.
Went across the line.
And it kind of crossed the line a little bit. And he goes, what did you say? I didn't remember. I said, do you want me to say it again? He goes, yeah, say it again. I didn't remember. And I said it to him again. He goes, no, we're good. He goes, I probably deserved it.
Still
he goes,
fun.
I probably deserved it. And
Yeah.
he goes,
I love Frank.
and that's one of the things. It's like, I didn't, it's just our relationship and whatnot. And I said it, but I second guessed myself, and he didn't even think twice about it. And I don't know how this goes to giving someone the benefit of the doubt, but it's one of these things where it's.
Yeah. So one of the things that I actually find absolutely reprehensible is when there's somebody who is not secure enough in a, hey, how you doing? Good to see you.
Oh yeah.
Like that,
just
that whole
walk
thing.
up. Yeah.
No. They have to, when they see you, it's got to be some kind of put down, or it's got to be some
like
cut up
that.
thing, some edgy, sarcastic thing.
Yeah.
It just makes my skin crawl because I am somebody who appreciates a pleasantry.
Yeah.
Hey, how you doing? Nice to see you.
Yeah.
Like this.
All right, I remember
I'm gonna notice if you don't say
Hey,
hello.
Kevin,
to
your
me.
beer's getting kind of long.
Thanks.
Oh, I always call you Beardo,
No.
and then I say hi. Beardo's here.
I'm gonna notice that because it matters to me, and I think I will say that certainly I'm not the person that gets offended by these things, but that's on me, and I have said things that have offended people, and I've put my foot in my mouth many times on that same order, and then I will immediately go home and start beating myself up about that.
Oh yeah, I've done
right?
that. Yeah.
And then on the same time, I'm like, do they know what they just said to me? Like, do you know what you just said to me?
Right.
Because you definitely don't know how it affected me.
Yeah. Fair.
And I spend so much time trying to very carefully wait my turn, choose my words,
Yep.
and in that way, I am being a better brother for my brothers, right?
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah.
I'll put that
I
on
can
myself.
No, but
I'll live with that on my own.
And I was just going to say that's very higher of you, to take the step back and to choose your words wisely. And, for you, it's like a bit of a chess game, a little bit.
Yeah.
Right. Make your move when you can.
But at the same time, I think that if you were to say to a brother, hey, listen, I've known you for a couple years. I've never once gotten a, hi, how are you? I think they would understand.
Mm-hmm.
I think if it came from me, they would be really mad.
Yeah?
Because when I say things like that to people, I never say anything like that to people. So when I do say it, it lands twice.
There's some gravitas behind it.
I think it lands twice.
But I mean, I got to be honest with you. You may be the youngest one out of us, and you may be a younger brother by age. There's a lot of knowledge behind your eyes.
Oh yeah.
No, I'm serious, and take this as a compliment. And for those of us that have sat and talked with you, or seen you give a speech, or everything else like that, there is something intimidating about you in your vast knowledge that you have of so many different topics.
Correct.
There are times, and I mean this in the best way possible, there are times that listening to you, I feel like less of a Mason because I am not as educated as you are in some of the esoterics and some of the history and things like that.
Yep.
Masonry for me has always been very, I don't want to call it business, but
Service.
it's service. And for me, it's the social connection and it's the service. It's the doing things. And there are brothers like yourself where Masonry is the esoteric, the history, the meaning behind things. And I'm so envious of someone like yourself and like Billy and Matt and Nick Compatello that have time to sit down and open a book. I bought Designia after the conversation that you had on the podcast a couple weeks ago. And I flipped through it, and I'm like, okay, I can't wait to get into this. The book has been sitting on my desk.
Still can't wait to get
for like
into
2
it.
months now, and I have not gotten into it.
I can't tear through the music section of the book either.
And it just it like that's why like the famous Masons and all this other stuff.
Oh, yeah,
I'm not of that mentality,
that's
I'm
fair.
very jealous.
It's kind of you to say that. I disagree.
It's okay.
And I'm saying
I won't disagree.
and the reason that I'm saying that is because as you're saying this, I can think of like 10 people who I would say the same thing about.
And that's fine.
And
There's always a bigger fish, though.
But that's it. Like, but if you ask them, they're going to say the same thing.
But
yeah.
In my eyes, you would be counted among those 10 people. You're part of that group of brothers who have a handle on the esoteric and the history and whatnot.
The universally minded.
Look, and you've talked about this before on the podcast with me. If you have a question and you need something answered, you come to me.
Yes,
and
that's true.
But questions that are asked of me are procedures, process.
Well,
things
I
like
can
that.
make you equally uncomfortable by saying you are clearly the finest secretary
Oh my
in
God,
the entire jurisdiction of New
I
Jersey.
will
Thank you.
second that.
I don't know about that, but I appreciate the compliment.
Any discussion.
I'm not wrong. I'm not wrong.
Yeah.
No, he is not.
But that's where my mindset is. That's where my mind is. My mind is in the paperwork. My mind is in the process, is the organization.
Dear
And
Lord,
isn't
are
it
you
fun?
organized?
Like something that strikes me is that we're going back and forth and we're trying to rip apart this term brother. That is what brothers do.
Here we are. Yeah, we're doing it.
Right. You're supposed to be a shot in the arm for each other, but you're also supposed to be a kick in the ass.
Yes.
Yeah, it's
where it's
true.
like, no, like first of all, either you're good at this and you need somebody to tell you whether you like it or not, or you're slacking off and you're much
and
better than this.
You're
and
doing
you
it
need to do
wrong, kind of thing.
Right.
Yeah.
So I mean that's great in that
I've
sense
had,
because
and
it
I
makes
need,
it feel like
I need,
that term brother is moving.
And
like it's
I
going
need that
somewhere.
kick in the ass sometimes. I need to kick my own ass sometimes because. So I have this little notebook here, and this is I've had one for years, and they get used up, and they're notes of things that I need to do for the lodge and deadlines and like little tiny notes, and I use my phone for reminders and for minor notes and things like that. I've had in my phone for reminders for about 6 years now. I want to do a lecture on Masonic greetings.
Yeah.
And I have bits and pieces in here in my mind that I've never put down on paper, or I have like little tiny notes, things like that. And I've never had the time.
I don't want to see this lecture come up at any other lodges.
Yeah, by the way.
No.
So
I am.
so
I'm
listen, this
officially
is going to
put a
be
lock on it.
this is going to be a presentation given in Billy's ear as worshipful master.
Can I put you
so
on?
you got a couple
I have a
years.
list already.
No, but and it's one of these things where it's
Trademark
like, it's
olive branch.
You got 4 years, Penn.
All right. Start the timer now. But it's one of those things where it's like my mind, at least for Freemasonry, does not go to that area. It doesn't go to the putting things together to talk about something. I did it in Danny's year, in Dan Xavier's year. I think I did a presentation on the Blazing Star, and I really enjoyed it. But it was very uncomfortable for me to do because it was not a topic. I loved the topic, but I wasn't in love with the topic.
I don't think Masonic education it has to be inherently esoteric. I know
no,
that's
it doesn't. But
there are some people who would go, yes, it has to be. But
I could give an hour and a half presentation on Grandview.
No,
it's
the same thing as we were saying before, where if you have these people come in, let them have a civically minded conversation where you would be, would be the exemplar for that. Let somebody have, a conversation about history or esotericism, whatever it happens.
Let's have a bunch of guys talk about the ritual for the ritual guys.
We're gonna kind of lean into the idea that this is not just any one thing.
Right. And I think that is also another definition of brotherhood is that we feed off each other, and that it's brotherhood in the sense that when you get a bunch of us together, you kind of round out the character. We feed off the best qualities of each other, and we understand the worst qualities of each other, and we know how to take bad things and turn into good things. We have brothers who, at the slightest bump in the road or the slightest wall that they got to jump over, and the shield goes up, and they're very unhappy with themselves and how things are going. And you can have a conversation with them and say, look, this is all part of it. It's all part of breaking off the rough stone. It's chiseling away these things and whatnot. It's learning what bothers you and overcoming that or finding a way to resolve that. And a lot of times you can't do that by yourself. You need your brothers to do that. So like you said a little while ago, you need your brothers to point out your good and to kick you in the butt on your bad.
Right.
Yep.
And that's the only way that we make ourselves better. Not the only way, but it's one of the ways that we make ourselves better is, part of it's internal, but the majority of it is external. Because you can't improve yourself looking in a mirror.
It's true.
It's not going to happen. You need the outside influences. So whereas my sister may tell me that I'm being a pain in the ass, and I probably am because that's my right as a big brother.
You're a big brother.
To her. There's a different comment that I take away from her telling me that I'm being a pain in the ass to one of you guys telling me that I'm being a pain in the ass.
Yeah.
Because she's related to me by blood. Not for nothing, Amanda, you have to love me no matter what.
You have no choice.
You guys have a choice.
Yeah.
And
we still choose to.
Right. When you point out one of my faults and you are still choosing to call me brother and shake my hand at the end of the night, that's a big deal.
Yeah.
Because you could choose to point out someone's faults and then walk away.
Yeah, and that'd be it.
So here's the thought that just struck me.
Shoot.
I want to send everybody away with some Masonic homework.
Ooh. Yeah.
All right. So here's what I want people to do.
Okay.
What?
I do have to write
You're going to write it down. Yeah. Okay. So we've just been talking about the way that you can live into this role of being a brother for people. So that's what you need to go do. All right. So you need to search your thoughts for a little bit for a conversation that you haven't yet had with somebody from your lodge. Right. It could be a good one. It could be an uncomfortable one. It could be a necessary one. It could be something that's uncomfortable but it has to be addressed. Whatever it happens to be. But eventually the idea is that you're going to leave with this sense of brotherhood strengthened, right? It could be a 5-minute conversation about, hey man, I remember you did this presentation last year and I really loved it, right? Or it could be something like, hey, we really need to talk about,
your hair,
like, whatever it happens to be.
Work on that.
But if I can tell you that I can have probably 3 or 4 conversations off the top of my head that I know I need to go have, right? One that I had, which I was really thankful that it finally happened, and then 3 of the other ones are just completely just fluff, and like they're nothing other than, hey, nice to see you, I really appreciate you, all that stuff. But you could blindside that other person.
Yeah.
And it could be something really meaningful to them, or necessary, or something like that. So here's what I want to do. On top of that, just to sort of branch out a little bit,
More homework.
No, so obviously we're going to give people time to do this. This is
absolutely.
Many of us are on refreshment for the entire summer.
Yeah.
Any of us who might be listening.
Masons.
So go on the post for this episode, which will probably be on the Olive Branch page.
Yep, Olive Branch page next Thursday.
And if you'd like to share a little bit about that experience on there underneath that post, I think that would be really cool to have a quick little archive on brotherhood. And not that we want it to become this whole living thread thing, but it is cool to hear about stories where, hey, so-and-so came over to my house and helped me replace my roof. It was really great of them to do that.
We love
things like that. This happens all the time in our lodge. And other than somebody saying something downstairs, like the rest of us wouldn't know.
How do you define brotherhood, and or when did you feel, or what made you feel like that word brother had a stronger gravitas, a stronger hold on your being.
Right. So Masonic homework, everybody.
Do it.
Get cracking.
All right, and
extra 5 points if you read all the instructions.
And like an annoying little brother, I guess it's time for me to do my job, since I was the annoying little brother. And I guess that's it, guys.
All right, man.
We've come to the end.
It's very nice sitting with you this evening, my brothers.
Yes,
Thanks for
absolutely.
coming, man.
So,
of course, it was a pleasure.
For Kevin Cotter.
Thank you very much.
Not Andrew. And the pen, Mr. Sash himself, Brother Adam Reich. Thank you so much for sitting in tonight.
This evening. I appreciate it.
And thank you guys for watching, listening, like and subscribe, share. And you guys have homework, so please let us know.
You want to hear it?
Yeah, absolutely. Have a great night. Bye.